Did you enjoy The Fencer? So, this was the East Coast premiere, and I am honored that we have the producer here. We're just chatting about the fact that this film does not have a distributor for the US yet. We're going to try and make that change, don't you think? Should this film be seen in this country? Please welcome the producer of this film, Kai Norberg. Kai.
Hello, everybody. So nice to be here. It's an honor, and it's, you know, the best possible situation is to see a full house, and it was a full house tonight, so I'm so glad to see you all here.
So as always, you can tweet your questions at #SBFF. I'm sure many people want to say how lovely this movie was. It's one of my favorites of the festival. But for now, we'll just ask questions. So, do we have any questions? The question is, how did you discover the story?
The scriptwriter, Anna Heinemaa, is a fencer, and she went for a training camp in Estonia, in this small town called Haapsalu, where she got to know the story. The film is based on a true story. And during the training camp, which was led by the daughter of Endre Nellis, an actual daughter, she got to know their family history. And Anna happens to be a scriptwriter too. So she wrote a movie script. She spent 4 years in writing it, and then she offered it to us. Well, first she offered it to a couple of other companies who all turned it down, and then she came to us, and the rest is history.
So the question is, why were the Soviets after him?
The actual crime in the story is that he was, as a young man, he was forced to join the Nazi army. And because Estonia was first it was occupied by the Germans, and then at the end of the war by the Soviet Union. And everybody who had been drafted to the Nazi army was then all of a sudden an enemy to the Soviet Union, and these people were hunted down and killed with no exception. And you know, these young men in the Baltic countries, with that time, they really had no choice. There was, you know, the cards were just not good. I mean, there was no way to escape the Germans, not the Soviet. But in the story, his crime is that he had been drafted to the Nazi army at the beginning of the war.
How long was he in prison?
Well, there's two things. One thing is the story of the film, and the other thing is the reality. In the story of the film, he's in a prison camp for a little bit less than a year. In the real life, we don't know exactly, because Mr. Nellis is dead, and we only know that he had a constant trouble with the Soviet authorities over the years. But we don't know exactly how it all went down.
We have a question from Twitter. What was the most difficult part of telling the story of this coach?
Well, it depends. The most difficult thing from making the script into a film was actually the snow, because there was no snow at all. And you know, in the original script, there's quite a long sequence where Endre Nellis goes to ski with the school kids, and they ski and they fall and they try again, and this is how he gets to know the kids. But this happened to be when we shot it, it happened to be the first winter when there was absolutely no snow at all. So we had to do like an instant rewrite in less than 24 hours to invent the story that the Soviet army, the military comes and takes the skis away so they don't get to skiing. This was like, you know, sometimes you got to react really fast. And I mean, the other choice would have been to try to transport some snow from the UK to Estonia with an airplane. And, you know, I was having a vacation by then, and my partner in business was calculating how much would it cost, and he came up with an amazing number, and then he called me and said, listen, that's what we need to do. And I said, no, now you're going to rewrite, and full stop. But, you know, it works okay, doesn't it?
Yes, sir, in the back. The question is about the children actors. Were they professionals, and how were they cast?
We had an Estonian casting agent, but the thing is that Estonia is such a small country. The overall population is just 1.6 million people in the entire country. So there's no professional child actors at all. But we had a brilliant casting agent, and she worked over a year to select find and select all the best possible children, and she did a great job. And it's always very much an interaction between the director and actor. And Klaus, our director, is very experienced also with the children. But then again, it's a miracle what they can produce here. I don't know how it happened, but you know, I'm just very grateful that it turned out like this. I can't give you an exact explanation that these kids are so good because of this and that. It's a process, and it was done with a very much love and devotion, and we're so happy with the result.
Do you know, have any of the children gone on to do any more acting since this?
Marta, the small, the kind of the hero, the underdog, she has continued acting, but I mean, she's still very young, so let's see.
The question is how the movie was received in Estonia, particularly since the main character had been part of the German army.
Well, as we tried to tell in the story, that all the young men by the time were victims. They were victims of the Nazis, and they were victims of the communists. So, I think most of the Estonians do agree with that. We had a premiere in Tallinn, which is the capital of Estonia, and the Prime Minister was there, it was a full house, the President was there, and so many people who from the family of Endel Nellis, and I think for me with this process, it was the most rewarding moment for me was when our premiere in Tallinn, Estonia ended. And everybody just got up, and the applause just went on and on and on, and everybody was crying, and they were so moved by the film, because I mean, as a Finn, I'm an outsider of their society. We were telling their story, and this to be received and appreciated by the Estonians was the biggest reward there was to get. So. It went really well. It went also really well at the box office in Estonia, and I think I do have quite a few friends in Estonia still. So,
has the film shown around Europe much?
In Europe, we opened in the Munich Film Festival in exactly a year ago, and it was a great premiere. Also, it's been I think 20 to 30 festivals in most of the European countries. We've sold the distribution rights, and it has premiered maybe 10, 12 European countries. and it's been quite okay. It's not a huge business like with the US studio movies, but to our standards, it's been both, you know, artistically and economically a success. We're very pleased with the results.
So the question is about the love interest in the movie. Was that just part of the script the way it was written, or was that actually based on the true story?
Well, I don't know, but it can be both. But for our purposes, this is the invented part of the story. We wanted to have this side of it also there, and this is it's fiction.
Right. The question's about the lead actor. Did he actually have a background in fencing, or did the children have any experience in fencing as well?
Some of the children, not the leading parts, but some of the children were from the fencing club, the local fencing club, which actually still is running today. Our male lead, Mr. Mert Avandi, he didn't have any experience at all, and but he's a fast learner, and he's got a very good self-confidence. Maybe some of you remember that in the final tournament there's a fencing referee, an elderly blonde lady with a tie, who is playing like the lead referee. And as Mert, our lead, got better and better, and we were shooting like, I think 12 days it took to shoot the end tournament sequence. In one of the breaks, Mert just went to the referee, starting to explain that, well, when I'm doing like this, maybe you shouldn't judge it like that, and when the kids do this, and maybe you should. It would be better because, you know, nowadays I'm pretty good in fencing. So, and while explaining her what's the point in fencing and all that stuff, everybody in the background started to go like this. and Mert just couldn't get it, and he went on and on and on explaining this lady what's the whole point in fencing. Until the point somebody came to him, our lead, and whispered to his ear, Mert, this lady is an Olympic gold medal winner from Mexico 1969. It took him over an hour to recover. We had to have a lunch break there. So at least, you know, he got into the role really well.
We have time for one more question. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, the question is about the score, which was actually quite beautiful. Who was the composer?
It was a German composer called Gert Wilden Jr. His father was already a very famous German composer, so he's a second-generation composer. But he was introduced to us through our German co-producer, Mr. Jörg Bundschuh, and he did a brilliant job. That's all I can say. And he's a dear friend nowadays.
Folks, if you want to see this film get released in this country, email us, send a note to our website, #SBFF, give me some ammunition, give me some thoughts about the film, so when I work with his sales company and try and find a distributor, I've got some real demographics of our audience telling us what we think of the film. Kai Norberg, thank you so much for The Fencer.
Thank you so much for having us here. Thank you.